Right, for Breckon Farms, great to be catching up with Todd Mitchell. Now, firstly, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks, Paul.
A couple of questions I want to ask you, but lucky enough to be here at Breckon Farms today. The hospitality is outstanding, isn't it, the way they look after you?
No, they do. Obviously, Nigel got away with his birthday shout put on Ken, so it's all worked out all right for him.
He did indeed. We still don't actually know how old Nigel is.
No, he's kept that pretty quiet. But I've been breaking in for Breckons for the last probably 3 years, I suppose.
Yep.
Had some nice yearlings through the place, and it's good to educate them and send them off to their future trainers.
It's quite interesting. I was in a meeting, and that's one of the reasons we're doing a few of these interviews and to promote the people that look after them. But the BF for Breckon Farms, it's actually Breckon Family, and you do become part of a family. Like you're welcome. Like I got out of the car from Australia, and you get a cuddle straight away from Karen. It's a great operation, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I didn't get a cuddle, but
you got to ask. But it is. I mean, you're just made feel welcome, aren't you?
Yeah. No, they're very lovely people to deal with, and nothing seems to be a problem. If there's any problems with the horses, you're just straight up honest with them, and and they're really, really good to deal with. Nigel's really good to deal with, so anything goes wrong, just give him a call, tell him what's happened, but touch wood, nothing's too serious sort of thing. So,
how many you break in a year?
I sort of think we've been doing about 8 to 10 per year, and I think we've done 4 this year for Breckons, so.
Yep. Do you break in many others outside of?
It's probably about 10 all up. So we've probably been doing apart from the Breckons, we've done another 6.
Yep. You're based up here in Cambridge?
Yeah, we're just based about 10 minutes out of Cambridge in Telferry Road.
Yep. So on your own property.
Yeah, been there for 20 something years now.
Yeah. You enjoy the industry?
Yeah, love it. But I also dabble in a few thoroughbreds as well.
Oh, do you?
So I quite enjoy training the thoroughbred, just something different. But probably because we've been sort of growing up doing the standard breeds from dad training, granddad training, so it's sort of been brought up in the family. So I think I've probably been doing the thoroughbreds for about 16, 18 years now, and really quite enjoy it.
Racing?
Yep, racing.
How many winners as a trainer in the?
I think just under 50 so far. So yeah, and was it last year or 2 years ago we trained the winner of the Concord Sprint, so that was quite a big thrill.
Yeah. I looked at your stats before I come. I don't do a lot of homework because I think you find out a lot more outside of it. 250-ish winners. I'm not sure if it's just under or just over 250 as a trainer, which is a great effort, I think, in any right. Is it something that you want to do, is continue training horses? Or?
Yeah, well, sort of like, obviously from when I left school, I sort of wanted to be a driver sort of thing.
Yep.
So the training side sort of fit into the to fit in with the driving a little bit. Probably the last couple of seasons sort of quiet down a little bit, the driving. Obviously with the numbers, and obviously I was doing a lot of driving for Bernie and Michelle, and
you got this person called Crystal come along.
Crystal's come along and give me the Humpty, but I'm still getting the odd drive for Bernie and Michelle, which is good. Have a really good rapport with them. I'll go out and drive a horse for them. I don't get any instructions unless Bernie puts his foot down or something, but Michelle sort of lets me do my own thing, and I think we have a real good relationship, So
and you've been getting quite a few winners this year as well with them.
I enjoy driving a straight out trotter. It gives you a good feeling when you get a nice one and you get a bit of speed there. So, as I said, like Bernie and Michelle have been really good to me over the years. So.
Your driving stats are amazing. So even 250 as a trainer, even in Australia, that's a great number. But 1,289, I think it is. You're getting pretty close to the 1,300 winners as a driver. A lot. In Australia, that's still a great result, but we do go around a hell of a lot more. That's an amazing figure here in New Zealand when you think that the top of the pops is at 4,000. Do you pinch yourself a little bit at your career?
I do. Like when I got to 1,000 winners, I thought it was a pretty, it was a pretty good achievement, especially for the numbers that I drive, and I haven't driven for like big barns or anything. So apart from Bernie and Michelle, that'd be the biggest team I drove for. or have driven for. But back in the day, lucky enough to get on horses like Monkey King, Bailey's Dream, Stephen Reed. We had a couple of missions over to Australia and got the Breeders' Crown, a couple of Breeders' Crowns. So, Stephen he's a pretty good trainer.
Yep.
When they're right, they're pretty right.
Good to drive for when you can get on horses like
good.
that.
Yep.
He still is a good trainer, isn't he?
Yeah,
he does go pretty good. I'm not sure about his haircut, but other than that, he does
I think he's fixed his haircut up since he's been down south.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, I think it's the man bun's come off, I think.
Wow. That's a
might have been a little bit too cold for it down in Christchurch.
Might have got frozen, you wouldn't know. Who is the best horse you've been associated with?
It's got to be Just an Excuse, because I drove him right from day dot, and he won back-to-back New Zealand Cups, and he could stay, and he had a lot of speed as well. But for a horse that I've driven right through his career, and obviously, early in his day, Monkey King, when I drove him, won a Great Northern Derby on him. Yep. And got the things came to an end later in his career, and was sort of moved away from driving for Stephen and Robert and that. But in saying that, I had a break about 18 months driving for Robert Familaro, and then came back and offered me the drive on Bailey's Dream in the New Zealand Cup, and ran second to changeover when it was $1 million cup. So I've had a good rapport with Robert as well over the years. That happens.
Sometimes there can be 100 different reasons why it does happen, but it must be good to be. Obviously, you're still friends now. So you called him Robert, you didn't call him anything else. That's a good giveaway. But it is one of those things. Probably a good lesson for young people, I suppose, that you might get removed off one horse. Don't burn your bridges, because you never know what's around the corner.
Well, that's right. You're always going to get a drag off a horse, and your first one's not going to be your last one, but you just got to hold your head up, and things turn around in circles and come good again. You can have a good run, and then you can have a bad run. So hopefully the good runs outweigh the bad runs. But
back with Just an Excuse, and you actually touched on it, so I know the answer is yes. But did you take pride almost as a trainer? Like you said there before that you were on him from the get-go, right all the way through his career, and people see the body of work. You're not the trainer, but you see the body of work that horse has been able to do, and you've contributed to that by not butchering him this week, so as he can back up next week. Do you just sit back and take a bit of pride in that?
Yeah, definitely. And we used to be a big one when we'd drive him at the trials fresh up, as we wouldn't pull him off a horse's back, sort of thing. So and even Charlie Hunter said to me one day, he said he said there was a very good drive. There was just only at the workouts, but he said you never pulled him off that horse's back. So he'd come out 2 weeks later and feel even better, sort of thing, so he doesn't go out there and gets butchered first trial or first run along. So you sort of learn things over the years.
It's one of my things I think a lot of younger people these days probably need to stop and have a look at it. If I get a bit frustrated, but you see these quality horsemen, people like Chris Alfords and those horses like Taylor Made Lombos, that they've been able to be on the whole time through and be able to look after them, even though they're not the trainer and they're not training them. And when Taylor Made, with Noel and Jane, said everything that happened with that horse, but you're still part of that whole process, aren't you?
Yeah, and probably a bit easier, with Dad training the horse too.
Yep.
So you sort of knew what he was up to.
Yeah, but you still got to execute it.
Yeah, definitely. But the beach training helped that horse too.
So do you train
at Raglan?
Did Dad? Oh no.
Yeah, well, Dad trained out at Raglan when he sold his property from Cambridge, and that's when I ended up buying my property, and then Dad moved out to Raglan and took a couple of horses out there, and one of the last horses he had was Just an Excuse. So.
Yeah, and then it's the other part, you get to share it with Dad.
Yeah, well, that's true too. When I started driving, Dad, he was a very good driver in his own right, and he, drove a horse like Master Musician, was a 2 and 3 year old when Robert was. Had sickness issues, and couldn't drive him. So, he's a very good driver in his own right. And when I started driving, he stepped down and let me take over the team. So that's where it's all sort of started from.
Can I ask you a rude question? How old are you?
53.
Oh, that's not too bad. You and I are very similar age, so it is all. In fact, I'm tipping we're the same vintage.
63.
Yeah, I know that point too. I must say, it was good today just to get up and actually do nothing, work out of a motel room. But when you're working, you don't get that luxury. You're staying in the industry though.
Yeah, definitely. Like, been in it for too long now, not qualified for anything else, but really still enjoying it. So we haven't got a big race team, but we'll have enough young ones coming through to keep the racing stock going anyway.
Do you enjoy the way the game's going at the minute?
Yeah, like obviously Entain have done their part, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when that time's up. But
does that worry you? I just interviewed Dylan and Joe, and Dylan, he's not worried about it, but he just hopes that everyone can get everything in order. It was a 5-year deal, so we're probably a year into that. So
yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. But I'm probably at the tail end of my career sort of thing, so I don't have to sort of
stress
worry
over
about it too much. But for the young people coming through, it's probably something that they've got to worry about. But hopefully it all works out, and Entain, they're boosting everything up, so they're doing everything right at the moment, so hopefully it onwards and upwards.
And we need that for the industry, don't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, I mean, you look at the investment Ken and Karen have put in here at this property, and their breeding stocks, like not just the property but the actual animals that are in the paddock. It's just amazing. So we need it. We need it to keep growing and being positive. I think that's one of the biggest things we have to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Why do they call you the Wizard? Well, Aaron calls you the Wizard. Well, he has a few random names, and it's one of those ones I've always wanted to know the answer to, and I get to ask it now.
It was George Simon actually came up with it years ago. Like, George used to do the amateur drivers, and he used to come around home, around at Dad's place, and have a bit of a practice. And he reckons I used to tell him that I was a know-it-all. He used to tell him what to do all the time. So he was the one that came up with the Wizard. So
Aaron just runs with it now.
That's where it originated from, was George Simon.
Yeah, he loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Whenever you're going to win a race, he'll make sure he gets it in there. There's no problem. And the other time I've noticed when he gets it in is if you're tailed off out the back. If you've had one gallop, he seems to bring it up for you all the time then as well.
So no, it has sort of stuck, but you have to thank George Simon for that.
Yeah, he wasn't a bad caller either, by the way.
Yeah, no, very good caller.
Yeah, back in the day. Todd, thank you. Really do appreciate it. Being a part here of the Breckon family. I think it's awesome. I think what Ken and Karen are doing as well, trying to highlight what you guys are doing, is great. You're good for the industry, and thank you very much for the chat, mate. It's been awesome.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Thanks, mate.